Oh, here we are back in Footballland. Here we are in the HQ
Hello.
of the Footballland.
Yeah.
Footballland, the greatest theme park that's football related that's ever existed.
Yeah.
Mark, you're here. Ryan, you're here. Do you want to introduce yourselves for people who haven't heard this before?
I'm Mark Davison, and I'm here.
Ryan?
I'm Ryan Baxter, and I am also here.
And speaking of introductions, we have a new sponsor of the Footballland car park.
Ooh.
His name is Rob Lindsay, and he has joined our Patreon on the top tier. So he joins Michael White and Matt Whitworth in sponsoring the car park. But exclusive naming rights, guys, it means we need to build another car park.
Yes.
Can't have too many
you
car
should be very
parks.
clear. They're not joining the same car park. They have their own car park.
Yeah, because Matt Whitworth's got the Matt Whitworth I am the greatest football land fan in all the land, car park. Michael White declined to go any further in his naming rights, and that was quite easy for the font.
Yeah, and we decided not to call it the White car park.
Rob Lindsay, we think it might be the Rob Lindsay who starred in My Family in the 90s.
I bloody hope so. We need some gravitas around here.
And he's a famous actor in his own right. And I know for a fact that Rob Lindsay loves motorbikes. So let's make just a motorbike car park.
Yes, because, there's all those people that do the things on two wheels.
Yeah, the two-wheelers. And also, okay, one thing though, motorbike car parks can be smaller. I don't want Rob Lindsay to feel like he's being shortchanged here. He's not. It's the same size car park. Yeah. But it's just for motorbikes.
And if it's emptier and that makes him feel sadder, we could put like cardboard cutouts of motorbikes in, like they've done sort of during the COVID.
I mean, it's easier to do stunts on a motorbike. So if it's an emptier car park, we could kind of double up as a stunt arena for those inclined.
Yeah.
Maybe we have a line of double-decker buses at the entrance to the motorbike car park, and you have to jump over it to get in.
That's great.
But you also have to kick a ball in midair. So we can call it a bicycle kick. Otherwise, it's not football related and doesn't belong in Footballland.
Brilliant.
Although, if you have parked a row of buses, you have parked the bus. So
it's ticking all the boxes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, Rob Lindsay, and I'm sure you're delighted. Guess what, guys? Rob Lindsay's got an idea for a ride. Not this week. He's bringing it in next week.
That's exciting.
Or possibly the week after, depending on how many people we got on the schedule. But Rob Lindsay, we've received your ride idea. We can't wait to share it. There's just a slight backlog, but hopefully you can sit in your new motorbike park and just put your feet up, mate, and enjoy another episode of Footballland. Now, Mark, you've been working on an advert for a ride, but first, we're just going to talk about our own rides that we're going to talk about this week. Ryan, what have you got this week?
I am doing a Patreon pitch, and it's a sort of a clarification of a previous Patreon pitch that we've had. It's very exciting.
Great. Okay,
Doesn't sound it. That sounded very bureaucratic, but it's actually very exciting.
Right. So an administrative point. Okay, great.
Yes.
Mark, what have you got?
I'm doing any other business. No, I'm doing a ride called Playground Tactics.
And I've got Gary Lineker's Shit Yourself, Loop the Loop. Right, Mark, you've got an advert for a previous ride. Let's hear it. Who is it and what is it?
Okay, so this was Adam Savage, who pitched back in meeting number 9. He pitched us Mamma Mia Mayhem.
Mamma Mia.
Let's have a listen.
In Footballland meeting number 9, Adam Savage pitched a ride based on Zinedine Zidane's infamous headbutt during the 2006 World Cup final. The specifics of the ride remain top secret, but here's a tune that gives a flavour of what it might involve.
What's the matter, Zizou? Hey, why do you think you do? It's not the best. A headbutt to the chest. I'll get off of the pitch. I'm going to kick your flipping bum off.
Contrary to the earlier statement, the details of the ride are not top secret and can be discovered in full if you go back and listen to Footballland episode 9 in full.
All right, lads. Now, I don't want to be bawdy. Okay, you know me.
You're not bored.
It's not about toilet humour with me, as far as I'm concerned. So I do go into this with a bit of trepidation.
Yeah,
right.
It's Gary Lineker's Shit Yourself, Loop the Loop, the world's first rollercoaster ride that's also a toilet.
I'm excited immediately.
Now, Gary Lineker was the greatest out-and-out striker for England ever. I mean, I know a couple more people scored more goals than him, but as a true number 9, I don't think there's a better goal poacher in
inside
history.
The box.
Not even inside the box, inside the 60-yard box.
Some of his goals were scored from behind the goal line.
And I know that there's more to remember him by than that time in Italia 90 when he did a poo on the field, but against Ireland, by the way, after a dodgy tummy. But if you haven't seen that, I watched it again recently. He gets fouled and he fouls at the same time. That is the first in World Cup history. No one's been fouled and fouled simultaneously.
To be fair to the general public, anybody that poos themselves in public, that generally goes down as their most memorable moment, regardless of what they achieve with their lives.
And also, if you're going to take a set piece, you don't need vanishing foam, do you? Because you've already got the marker on the field from where the kick should be taken.
Well, yeah, I haven't rewatched it, but I do remember him kind of sliding around on his bum like a dog with worms, just trying to clean himself up.
Right, toilets are not really fun anywhere, are they? Apart from possibly in Japan, when you can do karaoke and they perfume your bottom and, it plays a song. But in a theme park, I'm sure you'll agree that toilets should be fun. They need to be fun.
Yeah.
Because no one enjoys queuing up for the toilet. It's like a waste of time. But not if the toilet is also a roller coaster.
Correct.
Yeah. Imagine a giant loop-the-loop, right? You should really, this is a toilet roller coaster. You should be needing to go to the toilet beforehand. But I believe that the G-force of the loop ensures that your bowels will be excavated whether they're ready or not. Okay, so you can actually build in a poo into your day.
Right.
Everyone wishes they could, book in their toilet time, right?
Yeah.
This is the engineering genius of this ride. The G-force will excavate it.
Okay.
I've got 3 questions and one sort of more of a point. Well, firstly, I can't believe you've not called it a loop the poop. That seemed really obvious.
Very obvious.
That you've missed. Secondly, we're definitely going to need to do some tests of whether the G-force will extract it, or at the top of the loop when you actually sort of hang, whether there's a moment where G-force sort of you almost float, and I worry about unless this toilet is some kind of vacuumy thing that you're saying just as a safety.
I'm way ahead of you. I'm absolutely so far ahead of you. It's actually embarrassing. Okay.
I got my third question. Is it one of those loop the poops that that's all it does? It's sort of a high up point. You go down, it goes loop the loop, and it goes up the other end, a high point, and then comes back. So are you doing multiple loop the poops, or are you?
No, you just do one
massive
big G-force bowel excavation. Okay, you join the queue with your trousers on, getting onto the ride. You remove your trousers and your pants, so you're sitting in midair with your bum out, but there's a black perspex box around you, so no one can see your bits, but everyone can see your face. Because I think, for the camera, for the key ring in the gift shop afterwards, you need a photo of someone's face, not just a black perspex box.
Yeah.
And also, I think people want to see everything around them while they go, like when you're camping.
Yeah, and people build those windows into their fancy new houses that they build that are just at eye level when they're defecating,
absolutely.
So they can look at those.
It's very odd when you're passing in the street and you make eye contact with someone who's sitting in a room like that.
But most importantly, you can, if you wish to, you can mouth to the person nearest you, "I've shit myself," just like Gary did. I think it might have been Paul Gascoigne.
Would they then be also mouthing back to you, I have to. I've also shit myself. Yeah,
well, no. If it's Guzzy, he'd just burst into tears, wouldn't he?
Yes.
Out of jealousy. Capacity for the ride is, I'm gonna make it a firm 90 in tribute to Italia 90. Right, so you get on the ride, you've got your pants and your shorts, your trousers off, you're sitting down on a kind of a loop. Imagine like a coil. It's like one of those, those massage chairs where you put your face and there's a hole and you can see your face through.
So you're talking about a toilet seat?
Kind of. But you need your bum a bit more free for the wiping, which happens a bit later. Right. All right, you do your business as the G-force takes you up towards the apex of the loop. So you're doing it horizontally. That's when the G-force takes you up. That's when your bowels excavate, not at the top of the ride.
Yeah.
So it's caught on the side of the perspex screen. Then at the apex of the loop, you're upside down. The poo will slide or roll up the perspex screen and be caught in a container just behind your head. So imagine drop and slide.
Right.
Gravity, drops and slides, all right?
Fine.
So drop and slide. Then at the apex of the loop, right, is a long patch of astroturf, okay? It's astroturf suspended above at the top of the loop, right? Yeah. And that is to wipe your bum on. Just like Lineker when he wiped his bum on the field.
Which G AstroTurf? Because the early sandy stuff is
5G right. With the pellets in.
Stuff.
Yeah,
right, okay,
pellets.
Yeah.
So your seat holds your legs out in front of you, so your bottom just glides against the turf, comes out all shiny. So drop, slide, wipe, and then down the other side. Ride stops, you pull up your trousers, and away you go. There's not even a need to wash your hands.
Although I probably would.
We could end with a kind of log flume kind of B-day type thing, couldn't we? We could splash through water.
Okay.
Are your pants in the compartment with you, or do you hand them in at the bottom and then pick them up again as you leave the ride?
Yeah, like on an aeroplane, in the seat in front of you, there's a compartment. I think, let's get in the Perspex box. Let's just get a little compartment in the front where you can stow your undercrackers and your trousers.
I have a little suggestion. I wondered whether we could add a kind of a surprise element in here, sort of a slightly sort of a Beatles about element. Like you've got a row of toilets and people don't know that it's a roller coaster, so they go on, to do a poo, and then all of a sudden the porter cabin, the sort of portaloo box comes from above them, and they realise they're on a roller coaster, and it's the chest bars come down and strap you in, and you're off. And you've already initiated the brain to do the poo, so it's coming regardless. Add in the G-force, and then it's a real thriller minute,
Because the danger is you get stage fright if you know what's going to happen. Whereas if you're just having a nice relaxing poo, and then that happens, that's even better. I don't want to get too personal or go into too much detail, but some people, and I would include myself in this, the daily poo is less of a kind of quick thing and out, and more a sort of 30 to 40 minute, read the newspaper, read a book, to have a philosophy session, just put the world to rights. It's a very long, leisurely thing. That's not compatible with a quick loop, is it?
How often are you doing that in a theme park? Just for goodness sake, why would you do that? That's something you do at your own home, maybe in the hotel before you go to a theme park. But why are you wasting 40 minutes of your time?
Well, what I'm saying is I
reading
can't
a
poo
book
on demand.
in Alton Towers. That's absolutely bizarre, but typical, I think, of your outlook in life.
I still don't think it's going to work for me. I need a loop that's going to take 30 minutes.
Okay, Mark, there should be an option for a toilet where people can take their time, but as you come out, Gary Lineker, like an animatronic Gary Lineker, does that finger tapping to his head thing when Gaza started crying.
Yeah.
Keep an eye
on him.
Probably time to vote on this one. I think we've pushed it as far as we can.
Vote. All right, all in favour of Gary Lineker's Poop the Loop, say aye. 3, 2, 1.
Aye. Lovely stuff.
Very good.
Gosh, I'm very relieved in more than one way.
I'm on a poop the loop, the Garys followed through, they're smiling, having fun. Bras to wipe the bum. Come on, let's do a number one.
Oh, it's Patreon time. It's Patreon time.
You've got some engagement, Ryan. Some engagements coming.
Yes. James Worley sent us a message on Patreon. I'll read the message first and then explain it. He says, I've thought of a few names for the attraction. You'll know what it is. I'll fill you in if you don't. Rub the Queen's nose with Gary Mabbott. Gary's greedy slots. Quit rubbing my butt and start rubbing my nose. And the Gary Mabbott 50p special. Now, this is obviously in reference to...
That last one's a bit... He's just run out of ideas way before the end there, hasn't he? The Gary Mabbott 50p special.
Yeah. I mean, this is obviously in reference to Meeting 17 at Footballland, in which James pitched us the idea of a game in which you have to place 50p coins inside the mangled face of Gary Mabbott and rub the Queen's nose, which is on the UK coinage, whilst your hands are inside the mangled head of Gary Mabbott. And if you did do that, you won some tickets to exchange for plastic tat at a window at a counter. And this was all in honour of a former Spurs defender appearing on the British children's TV show, The Queen's Nose. So as you just heard, James is now proposing several names for that ride. You've got Rub the Queen's Nose, and as you said, yes, there are diminishing returns. There's Rub the Queen's Nose with Gary Mabbott, which feels a bit like a US TV special. You know what I mean? It's like a late night talk show. Gary's Greedy Slots, which could work.
I like that.
If that was in the Total Smutball red light district, maybe.
Right.
We've got Quit Rubbing My Butt and Start Rubbing My Nose. I think he's gotten confused about his own ride there, because that should be the Queen's Nose, not Mabbott's Nose.
Yeah, but is it the Queen talking?
Yeah, we might need to find a font that communicates that that's the Queen saying that. Maybe I'll put it in italics. The fourth option, the Gary Mabbott 50p special.
That sounds like a replacement bus, doesn't it?
Yeah.
To a stadium.
Or it sounds like one of those commemorative coins you get in the back of TV magazines. You sort of pay £15 for a 50p coin. With Gary Mabbott on one side and the Queen on the other. So which, I don't know, which one do you think?
I love it. I love that this has even happened. Oh, hang on a minute. Weren't we changing the Queen's Nose anyway on the front to a football?
No, that's a different point. That's a separate point. That's a secondary administrative point.
Okay, all right. Well, if it's the Queen saying quit rubbing my butt and start rubbing my nose, I would favour that, because... but Gary's Greedy Slots, I like that. I can imagine like a Pac-Man Gary Mabbott sort of wandering around in digitised form.
Just to be ultra contrary, let's go for Gary's 50p special.
Yes, actually.
Yeah, let's go for it.
It's tantalising. You don't know what it is. Well done, James.
Thank you, James.
You for giving us the Gary Mabbott 50p special. You can rub my butt, Gary Mabbott. Rub my butt, Gary Mabbott.
Mark, what have you got? What have you got for us, Mark? What have you got?
Well, gather round. I've got a ride called Playground Tactics. So it's based around the way you play football when you're 5-6 years old. I'm talking really early, in that everyone follows the ball, no one defends. You play a kind of 0-0-11 formation because no one wants to go in goal.
Cluster.
So it is an actual game of football, 2 teams of 11, but it's more of a kind of adult ride, in that it's just taking that concept to make something that would be quite a thrilling ride, I think. So everyone puts on flak jackets. So you've got like strips of metal embedded in the kind of life jacket type gilet that you put on. And there is a football in an inside pitch, but an electromagnetic massive thing that kind of lifts cars in junkyards is swirling around above you. So although you're going to try and play football, you're going to be heavily dictated to by wherever the magnet swings you. And you're going to kind of cluster together.
So you're playing a game of football against the forces of magnetism?
Yes.
No, you're playing... So if you're wearing a red flak jacket, you're playing against those wearing a blue jacket. So you are trying to play a normal game of football, but you are heavily prevented from doing so in any kind of rational, sane sense, because the swirling forces of electromagnetism mean... your team is, well, I mean, this is where it started to evolve in my head, in that I think the reality of the physics of this would mean if you've got metal jackets on and there's an electromagnetic thing in the scene, you're just going to go up, and that's not good.
Well, so not just that, you're all going to go towards it.
And you're all going to go towards it,
because it doesn't discriminate between what colour jackets, I believe, magnetism.
Exactly,
but not if you have it in a giant steel box where the sensors can randomly put electromagnets on left, right, top,
I forgot
down.
about sensors.
I didn't know about any of that, but that solved it, because what I've done is I've just written, and I've put it in inverted commas, which means it's definitely going to happen: invent an invisible swirling magnetic ball. But that sounds quite hard, doesn't it? So you
could have 50 electromagnets on one side of the wall, and then the other, and the other, and the other, and they can just go on and off at random.
But that's that's still not going to specify a specific colour of flat jacket if there's two players.
Well, what if the magnets? What if you're wearing magnets and some of you are wearing North Pole magnets and the other team are wearing South Pole magnets? So you're kind of repelling each other.
Yeah.
Or you could be wearing electromagnets and we could turn them on and off at different points, therefore attracting them to the nearest ferrous iron surface. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that would mean that like the 22 players would behave like iron filings, wouldn't it? When you're running a magnet over them, and would that be fun? Would that be a nice feeling? I want to get people swirling around in big 11 clumps of 11. And crucially, trying to play football. You have to try and score, even though it's going to be almost impossible.
Not to totally dispense with the electromagnet thing, but what you could do is you could essentially tether all 11 players of one side together with bungee cords, creating a cluster effect and allowing them not to move away from each other. And there's a bit of give, but they're definitely going to have to move as a unit, like in some sort of tortuous team building away day. And that would give you the kind of clustering, potentially swirling effect. And also
quite a whiplash effect if you've got the keeper like in the goal and you're all up the other end and that keeper is being snapped back towards like right up front. Quite a velocity. It's going to take you all out like really Skittles.
Strong quads to fight the other 10, the force of the other 10 players trying to run at the other end.
I mean, the reality of playground football is that goalkeepers do regularly abandon their goal. No one's ever fully analysed the difference between rush goalkeeper and scramble goalkeeper. So I'm thinking anyone can make a save if they happen to find themselves near the goal. I like the bungee cord idea, but what it doesn't allow for, which I think we should have as part of this, is the electromagnetic forces to kind of pulse in strength. So they go from being really strong, so you're a very tight-knit bunch of 11, to really quite weak, that allows someone to just wander off and never touch the ball. There should be an option to go the full, however long this is, probably not 90 minutes, or maybe it is.
I mean, if you made it 90 seconds, I think you've got to really up the tempo, because these are adults, and adults are quite sluggish and poorly motivated. So it would, I think you sort of need to get them going, because kids on a playground, they know they've only got 15 minutes for break, and therefore they're going to give it everything because they want to come back to the classroom with a sort of 9-7 score line. So you've got to score more than a goal a minute at that rate. So
how about either gusts of air, jets, wind that blow people sort of off course, or you could have the pitch. The pitch could be sort of separated into 7 different levels, and they can be on hydraulics moved up and down, so that people are forced to be speeding down one side of the pitch, whereas other people are speeding up the other end. If those are done at random, laterally and vertically or horizontally, then you'd have that effect, and you wouldn't need to poke anyone with a cattle prod, because they would be speeding with gravity.
I mean, basically, what this has evolved into is a box where we put some adults and we just blast all kinds of stuff at them. Winds, air, slopes, electromagnetism. I mean, maybe we should turn gravity off and suddenly you're on the ceiling. And there's a ball involved, but it's largely irrelevant.
Yeah. Well, maybe the ball could be the electromagnetic thing. That's, if we get into the root of playground tactics, it's everybody wants the ball, everybody wants to touch the ball, everybody wants to be near the ball. So maybe if the ball itself is the electromagnetic thing and everybody's wearing sort of metal boots, then they're drawn towards it, and you could then also dictate.
But wouldn't that just make for a big clump of 22 people with a ball in the middle?
That's playground tactics.
That is playground tactics.
That's
and if
playground tactics.
If you have the ball with the electromagnets and the side hoardings all turning on and off their electromagnets randomly, then that ball can go around. Or you have, when you have a magic trick and you've got a metal surface, and then underneath someone's got a magnet and they're moving around like an egg or something, and you don't know how that's working, but it's just someone controlling it from underneath. You could have all of the magnets underneath the surface,
Yeah.
So the ball is just going around randomly, and there's a person underneath.
Not a person. We need something more random.
More random, yeah. Yeah. Well, I've just realised that a lot of creatures on this Earth navigate via electromagnetism, via the Earth's electromagnetic field. So this is going to attract wildlife, whether we want to or not. So could we make sure? Could we funnel the stampeding gazelles and lizards of Qatar that come into this ride? Could we channel them to underneath the pitch so that they're moving the electromagnets around underneath?
I was thinking anteater with a sort of large magnet strapped to its back, because they sort of they root around. They've got the big snouts, and they're very. Yeah. They seem to be very random because they're sniffing for ants, or maybe something deserty, because we keep kind of bringing in stuff that doesn't really survive in a desert.
I was thinking, guys, what about we partner up with a local school in Buckinghamshire or Somerset, and just have a school for their year project. It's a load of year threes, and they've just got to play football in a playground constantly for 9-10 hours a day for a whole year, and then we put a chip in the ball. And the ball in our exhibit, Playground Tactics, mirrors exactly where that ball's going.
I think there's an inbuilt problem with that, in that people are obviously going to want to bet on these games. They're going to become really popular, but these are all predetermined. So that.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say that there's always going to be a sort of Bielsa-type character, and you'd start getting blokes hiding in bushes around this school in Buckinghamshire, sort of noting down the patterns of play so that they could then go to Qatar and really look good at this game. That's a danger.
But like spot fixing, like there's about a 5-6 second delay in spot fixing. Right. So if you're going to spot fix on this Playground Tactics, then you're only going to be
so it's live.
Able to bet. Yeah, you're only going to be able to bet on goal kicks and stuff. Yeah.
I thought you were recording data over a year and then for us to
No, it's instantaneous, and the only delay is the amount of time the technology takes to beam it over.
Oh, that's genius.
So what you left out of that was slave children.
No, they're primary school children doing a project. They're doing a project, and
very worthwhile project.
The school is going to get a new roof or extra meal vouchers. So no, it's all good. It's
sort
all
of an
above
academy
board.
trade-off. Then
it's government funding. It's an academy.
Fine. And talking of meal vouchers, this is a vital feature of this game. You have to go into this room on a full stomach. You have to replicate the lunchtime, have a massive meal, and then run around for 45
sugar
minutes.
highs.
And then you got to go on Gary Lineker's Loop the Poop after. Lads, I think we should vote on this because we're kind of running out of time. Mark, you go for it, mate.
Okay, all those in favour of Playground Tactics say aye. 3, 2, 1, aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, Mark.
Really
very good.
Very, very good. Yeah.
In China, the word magnet literally means loving stone. Not relevant at all.
If you're wearing metal pants.
Young man, we're building Footballland. I said, young man.
Oh, girl.
We could do with a hand. I said, young man.
Oh, girl.
Do you understand? You could get in on this. You need to head on to PATR. now. PATR. Send us whatever you think. It might be good, it might stink. We will talk about it anyway. You need to head on to PATR. EON now. PATR. Chuck in a couple of pounds. We'll bat your thoughts all around. And it might just make our day.
Send us your ideas at patreon.com/footballland.
Thank you.
Great meeting, everyone.
Really
Superb
good
stuff. We've got three more new features in Footballland, and we've sorted out the name of the Gary Lineker 50p special.
Yes.
We can all earn a well-deserved cup of tea and a poo.
Oh.
An upside-down poo?
I'm going to go upside down. I'm going to wipe my bottom upside down on the curtains. See you next time, everyone.
You've got curtains on your ceiling.
Yeah. Bye. 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 Bye.